Yeah. Uh, so in last class we talked about the perceptual learning, and essentially we learned how the weights are updated. Okay. It has different disadvantage, obviously. Major disadvantage we only learn a single computing unit or single perceptron. Single perceptron is very simple. Idea is simple, and then it can solve only the very simple problem, which if the data set or classes are not linearly separable, and that only it can solve. But many cases we don't know how the data sets are there, classes are there, so therefore single perceptron cannot solve. On the other hand, using multiple simple perceptron, you can make a complex structure, and that can solve the many problems. One example is here XOR gate. This is so simple. You can see that there are four inputs. Okay. So 0 0 will have -1, 1 0 will have 1, 0 1 will have 1, and 1 1 will be -1. So these x1 x2 are the what is called is the real number, not the binary number. Okay. So and then the classes are obviously the binary -1 and +1. Now, if we use a single perceptron, no single perceptron can identify these all 4 points rightly. Okay. So therefore, what single perceptron is nothing but a line. So you cannot find a single line which can rightly identify the all classes, class level of the all points. Okay. So therefore, what we have to go, we should go for the multiple perceptron. That is not sufficient, and then we should have a multiple layer. So in earlier example, if you carefully see, we this is the diagram here. So this is first is the input, and then we have the one perceptron here. Now instead of having one perceptron, we will add more perceptron. It is not only that, we will add more layers. So this is something called input layer, and this is called output, final output, and this is output layer. And we use this one in a black box. So this is input x1, x2, x3. These are something called input, and then this is the output. Now what we do it, we'll increase in both the direction. One is number of perceptron and number of layers. So let's say you have the input layer here and then output layer. So instead of having two layers, we can incorporate more layer in between. So therefore, that is something called multi-layer perceptron here. So that is something called multi-layer neural network. So more than one hidden layer of the computing node. So earlier we talked about the black box. So whichever within the black box, we say that is those are the hidden from the input as well as from the output. That is something called in this example. So these are the visible to the let's say to me. So then these are the input. So this is something called input layer, and obviously this is the output. In between, whatever the new what is called is perceptron are there, those are called the hidden perceptron. And because it is located in the same layer, if you start, this is the layer 1, layer 2, and so on. So then these are called the hidden layer. All layers are called the hidden layer. So every node in the hidden layer operates on the activation from the preceding layer and transmit activation forward to the nodes of the next layer, also referred to as the feed-forward neural network. So will be connected to this one and will be connection with another one. So in this example, we can see we have three perceptrons. So not necessarily we can have the same number of perceptron here. We can have the reduced number of perceptron based on the problem and based what we want to solve the original, how we want to solve the problem. So this is a basic diagram of multi-layer neural network. Now this is one more example that how to solve using multi-layer perceptron the problem of XOR data or XOR problem. What we do it, as we said, we cannot solve using a single layer, single perceptron. So what it is introduced, instead of only in earlier what we did it, we have only single perceptron. Now we introduce one more perceptron. Okay, and here I will ask you to note few points here. and then obviously this will be connected here. So because it has previously it has two input and it is fully connected, so then these N3 will get two inputs. One is W31, another is W32. Okay, another is W32, and this one also will get the two input. One will come from, that is N1, another will come from N2. So first one is weight is W41, another weight is W42. Similarly for N5. So I will ask you to note down one thing, or maybe you can focus how the weight, that is W31, W41 is written. So weight W31, why 3 is coming? Because this node is actually itself 3. So therefore weight 3, and it is coming from the node 1. So therefore this weight linking between N1 and N3, so that weight is W31. Similarly for N3 is also, its inputs are coming from N2. So therefore input should be that weight is denoted as W, that is weight, and it is for the input for the node N3, and it is coming from the node N2, so therefore W32. So therefore, if you write what is the N3, you can write it. So you can write it N3 is nothing but W, it is coming on N1 plus W, and it's coming from N2. Okay, then weight, how do you write the weight? So it is for the node N3, so W3 will come, and it is coming from N1, so this will be 3 1. Another, this will be 3, and a node is coming from 2, so therefore this is 3 1 and 3 2, if I am right? Similarly for node N4, so it will be also coming from node N1 plus it is coming from node N2, and then weight will be for node 4, it will be 4, and this is 4 1, and this will be node 4 2. Okay. Similarly for N5, how do you write N5? So N5, can you see clearly? Hello? Oh, we cannot see, right? Can you see
Yes, sir.
clearly?
Sir, camera changes the focus in every second, so we can see for a second and then it will get blurred and see for a second.
Okay, why it is so? Achha, then maybe I need to. Achha,
Now
it
we
will be
can.
good. Yeah, it will be good if you see the slide from your computer or laptop. Okay. Slides, if I disconnect, then I think it will be much easier. Okay. So I'm not sharing the slide right now. So now you can see, let's say what I said, N3 will be connected with N1 and N2. Can you see now?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear now or no? So then N3 it is coming from N1, so therefore 1 will come, and then weight will be, it is for the node N3, so therefore W31 into N1 plus W32 into N2. Okay. What? You cannot see.
So the equation of N4 is getting cut out.
Equation of N4 is getting out. Okay.
Right, can see, sir.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay. So similarly, N5, how do you write that? Is N5. So then what will be the weight? How do you write it? Weight is coming from 5, 4, and this will come for 5, in 5, right? It is coming for N3, this should be N3, right? N3 and N4. So it should be 5, 3, it should be 5, 4. Okay? Can you see now?
Yes, sir, we can see, sir.
So that is the, yeah, you can see the now slide, maybe I can share also the slide. Okay. So if I share the slide here, so now you can look into the slide. So that is the N5 will come as W53 into N3 and W54 into N4. So here please note that we are not using any activation function that will make it nonlinear boundary. So this notation actually, why I am emphasizing on this notation. So next slide you will see this notation we use it. And on the right side you can see the figure. Actually, see N3 will give you the one line, N4 will give you another line, and entire complex, this entire all structure will give this boundary line. So therefore now we can identify the class level of the object easily. So that way is solved for the XOR problem. But here the learning experience from the XOR problem is that if the data are not linearly separable, classes are not linearly separable, then we should go for multiple layers and then multiple perceptrons. Okay. So based on this one, basically what it essentially does, if you have a multiple perceptron, so each perceptron is very simple and each perceptron is doing their work for identifying the right features. So as you know that in neural network and the deep learning, the image processing in domain of image processing, they have been used extensively. So this is one example. You have each neuron is very simple, but while you combine them, that will give you the complex structure. So therefore, you can see the one figure. Keeping on this, now question is, earlier in one example of the weights update, we use that is single layer, we use the single perceptron and then we learn it. Now question is, if we have the multiple perceptron and multiple layer, how do you learn, or how the system will learn how the weights are updated. So there are few questions on that. So question is, how do you update the weight in case of the multi-layer neural architecture? So here one example, say let's say you started with layer 0, that is the input, and then you have the layer 1, and then you have the layer L, and the left side is layer L minus 1, on the right side is layer L plus 1, and so on. And the last layer, output layer, is called the layer capital L, and previously it will be layer L minus 1. Okay. Now, say there are multiple nodes, as you can see. Say let's say you have the ith node. Okay, as you can see, it is pointed with arrow, that is ith node. Okay. Hello. Wait for it. You just wait. Okay. So if you see carefully here, so you can see the node I. Okay. This is the node I, and then how do you write the output of node I? See, this is the L is the level L, and the I is the node I. So therefore AIL equal to, now what will be the AIL? AIL is nothing but function of, this is the activation function F, and then we are writing ZIL. ZIL is nothing but this entire function, that is WIJL AJL minus 1 plus BL. So now what I have to do it, I have to use the board, and then yeah, just I will take a call. Sorry, there was courier, so I have to. Anyway, so now what you see, that is the structure. Can you see the structure clearly in the slide? So you have a multi-layer neural network, and then let's say you have the node I. Okay, so then node I, how do you represent the output of the node? So that I must show you. So let's say now sometime you see the your own slide. So what is that? How do you write the output of the node here? Say you have a complex structure. Okay, say let's say this is layer L. Okay, so now you have a complex structure here, and that is, let's say, AI. Okay, so now what you want to do it, what you want to do it, you have to write what is AI. So AI at the level or layer L is nothing but function of Z. What is that? For Zi and then level L. Okay. So this function is activation function, or later on we put it basically it is sigmoid function Zi L. So AI L. Okay. So this node this node will have the input from previous node. Okay. So it will have the input from the node L, layer L plus L minus 1. And then what we know, this Zi is nothing but Zi at the level L is nothing but summation of all these input. What is that? Summation over, it is coming from the other layer node, so that is A J level L minus 1. And then wait as I said just few minutes before, wait will be AI, because this is wait for this node and it will come from the other node. So therefore this will be Wij. Say in earlier example what we did it, say suppose this is N5. So it was coming from node N4 and it was coming from node N3. So then how do you sum up? So this weight will be N5, and because this is 4, so 5, 4. So similarly this will be 5, 3. Similarly here, so first term will be for the node I, and then rest for the, it is coming all nodes I am saying ki J. Okay. So therefore this will be Wij. And obviously there will be a bias term. So that is B, and it will have only a single term. For each node there will be one B. So therefore B, and this is for the node I at the level L. Okay. So this is for the ith node. Okay. So this is for Z, and what we know is A I L equal to F of Zi at level L. And this is nothing but we use the sigmoid function of Zi L. Okay. So this is nothing that.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, are you writing something on the blackboard? Because we are not able to see that.
You cannot see.
No, sir,
No,
I
sir.
can see, sir.
Huh?
Sir, it's
So we
visible,
can-
sir.
Okay,
Sir, we
then
can
it's
see
visible.
it.
It might be. Sorry. Sorry.
I think some of the guys can see.
Yes, sir, it might be my problem. I'm sorry.
Sir, anything not visible.
Yeah. So this is sigmoid function of ZIL. Okay. So
Anything not visible. PPT not visible.
okay. So now, yeah, I face problem. Today actually I thought of teaching from PPA, but they could not do it.
Sir, PPT is not visible.
Yeah.
PPT is not visible for me.
Can you see the white board?
Nothing is visible.
Whiteboard should be visible. PPT is not. It is okay. PPT I am not sharing now because if I share both, then you cannot.
Anything is not visible, sir.
Huh?
And we can
Anything
see
is not
whiteboard.
visible.
We can
Yeah,
see the
yeah. People
whiteboard.
can see the whiteboard.
Yes, sir, we can see that.
Sir, is it visible?
Whiteboard is visible. What you need to do is PPT you can see from your computer because PPT is already uploaded in MS Team. So from there you download and you can see the PPT. Okay. Now you can see the PPT and again I will move to the board. So this is the same thing what I wrote on the board. So maybe I can tell AIL is a function of ZIL. How do you get this? ZI is nothing but the weighted function. What is that weighted function here? So AJ from the previous level is coming AJL minus 1 for the all node J, summation over all node J, and WL JI, that is the weight WL JI. This weight is associated with the level L, so therefore there should be WLIJ. So there should be WL weight at each level. So this level is associated with the AI is coming from the level L. So therefore WIJL. And then obviously PL. Now this is okay, we can write. Now what is the question? Challenging part? Challenging part is how to learn this value of Wij. Because earlier we had the single perceptron, it was much easy. Okay. Now you can see the slide here, right? So again, if you read it in AIL equal to function of ZIL and then function of WIJL AJL minus 1 plus BIL. I am not writing anything on the board. So now what I will start writing now on the board that sigmoid function we use, right? So sigmoid function and then we have the derivative. So how do you get this derivative value now? I will show on the board. So please look into the board. Okay. So what do we have? So we have AIL equal to function of ZI at level A. Okay. Now what we wanted to do, so we learned earlier this part, Z, what is ZI, okay. Now what we do it here, we compute the derivative of delta AIL with respect to delta ZIL, okay. So that is we do it here. So how, this is ZIL, okay, and this is AIL. So this one here, this is sigmoid function. Instead of F, we can directly put this is sigmoid function. So in sigmoid function, what we do? 1 by 1 plus, okay, 1 plus, this is obviously ZIL. Huh? Okay, I can draw it. Now I am writing on the board. So here is 1 plus e to the power minus ZIL. Okay. So then how do you derive? Now you derive it here. So this is nothing but 1 by, you can write 1 by, this is what you can do it. You can write this one is 1 by 1 by t, where t equal to 1 plus e to the power minus ZIL. Okay. So then now you derivative it with respect to, this is t, this one, so you derivative del t with respect to del z. Uh, what will be the value? This will be minus e to the power minus z I L. Okay, you got it? And then what you have to do, this is t, so then you have to derivative here, function of t equal to 1 by t, you compute function of f by t with respect to t. So then what will you get? 1 by t, 1 by t, what will be the value? Minus, and then what? 1 by t means 1 by t square. Is it okay? So then therefore minus 1 by t square into this is minus into e to the power minus z I L. Are you understanding? So 1 by t
Sir?
equal to
Sir, can you brief it, that part?
but
Sir, this
derivative.
from this 1 by t and this all.
Okay. So you have to see what. So you have to find the derivative with respect to ZIL. So that is the function here. Sigma of ZIL, I wrote it this part. Okay. So this part is sigmoid function 1 by 1 plus whatever the value is e to the power minus ZIL. Okay. Now what you have to do? So you have to derivative it. So 1 by, so this part we write it t. Okay. So only lower part I write it t. So therefore it will be 1 by t. And this is a function of t. Now what I write, f of t equal to 1 by t. So now if you derivative it, this one with respect to t, so therefore 1 by x. 1 by x, what will be the derivative of 1 by x? d dx of function of x 1 by x. What will be the derivative of 1 by x? So x to the power minus 1, so it will be minus into x to the power minus 1 minus 1. So therefore it will be 1 by x square or minus 1. So therefore 1 by t square. So therefore dft by dt equal to 1 by t square. So what is t square? 1 by t. What is 1 by t? 1 by t is nothing but AIL. So therefore we can write it here. This is minus 1 by t means a to the power AL square. Okay. So that is, I wrote it here, minus 1 by t square. And then what is the derivative with t? So this is the chain rule we are using. First we derive with, okay, what I can write it here, del AIL divided by del ZIL equal to first derivative with respect to delta t, okay, and then delta t with respect to delta ZIL. So if I do it here, so this one will be minus 1 by t square, and this one will give you this one minus e to the power minus ZIL. Okay. So now what is this? This is minus minus is cancel out. 1 by t square is nothing but 1 by t equal to AIL. So we can write AIL square. Okay. And then we have this part. Okay. What is this part? This part can be written as, let's say, you can write 1 by AIL. Okay. How do you get this value here? So this minus you remove it here. So this will be 1 minus AIL. So what is 1 minus AIL? You put this value here. AIL, what is the value of AIL? AIL is nothing but 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus ZL. So if you put it here, what value will you get it? You will get it essentially e to the power minus ZIL. Okay. So let me do it here. 1 minus this value. What is this value? 1 by 1 plus.
Sir, the top of the board is not visible.
Top of the board is not visible. Okay, what I can
You can write down the blank space.
where is the black space? I could not find. Yeah, the left side black space. Okay, and that is also a good idea. Otherwise, I can down it. Nothing is done. Okay, blank space I can write. So what was the writing? 1 minus 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus j I L. So what will be this value? It will be 1 plus e to the power minus j I L. Okay. So then this will be 1 plus e to the power minus j I L minus 1. Okay. So therefore e to the power minus j I L divided by 1 plus to the power minus j I L. Okay. So therefore, what we can do it here. So what we have 1 by t square divided by a. 1 by t square. What is that? This is minus is gone. So then 1 by t square means what we can write it. This one we can write. What we can write? A I L square into e to the power minus j I L. Okay. So here AIL is what? AIL is 1 by 1 plus A. So you can write 1 by 1 plus e to the power. This is square, right? So what we can do it? This is AIL. So that will give you A. This is square. Okay. So you can write it AIL into another AIL. Another AIL means what? You can write AIL means another AIL into e to the power minus ZIL. Okay. Now what you do it? This one you replace the value of what? AI you can replace 1 by 1 plus e to the power ZIL. Okay. So therefore it will come like that. So here write it here. Okay, maybe I can write it here. So yeah. Here what we do is AIL into these one should be replaced by 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus ZIL. Okay, and into e to the power minus ZIL. Okay. Okay. So what is this? This term is nothing but this term, right? So this is nothing but 1 minus this value. What is 1 minus this value? This is nothing but 1 minus AIL. Okay. So therefore you can replace this part by, okay, lower part is not visible. So you can write it AIL into AIL into e to the power minus ZIL. Okay, that was the term here. This is I am writing here. This part I am writing here, and this is coming directly here. Okay. So therefore, what we can write it AIL into 1 minus AIL. Is it okay? Is it okay or
Sir, upper part of the board is not visible.
upper part board not visible? Okay. Let me see. Uh,
Now it's okay.
yeah. Did you understand this derivative?
Yes, sir.
So we understand the derivative but did not understand the significance of this.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that is good. Significance will come next slide. So now we are talking about this one. Now what we are talking actually? We are saying ki we understood the each node connection everything, but thing is that how to learn the weight or how to update the weight. So that was the problem. So for that one we need this one. So can we apply the perceptron learning rule to each node, including the hidden node? So earlier what we are doing, we are finding the error, and then according to the error, we are adjusting the weight. It was really nice. But problem is that now you have the multiple perceptron. In earlier example, we have a single perceptron. So whatever the output, output was output was coming from a single perceptron. So whatever the things are coming, so only the single perceptron was responsible. Now you have the multiple perceptron and then you are getting a single output. So how do you divide the responsibility among the for the particular output? This is one question. Another thing is here problem is also manifolded by the different line, what is called is the layer. So you have a multiple layer, then how much one layer is what is called is contributing a particular error. So how do you figure it out? So therefore, so we have the problem. So how to determine the true value of y for the hidden layer? So hidden nodes may be away from the output node. So therefore, it is really very difficult to fix how much responsible that a particular node for a particular output. This is one, and then there is no guarantee that it will be optimized. So therefore, there is a technique called gradient descent technique. Okay, I am not going to teach that what how the gradient technique came. I will tell you ki how the gradient technique is exploited in this scenario. So gradient descent technique was mathematically strong and it has been used in many domains. So therefore we assume that there is a method is called the gradient descent technique and then we will use it for in our purpose. So therefore what we do it, we will identify the loss function, that means error we identify. So that is loss function to measure the error across all the training examples. So in earlier, what we do it, we have a error. So for the n example, we will sum them all error. So this is loss is nothing but the true value and then predicted value. So we get it here. So then what we found it for a particular training example, we know the value of x1, x2 and all features. So those are the constant. What we don't know, we don't know the value of the weights and then corresponding bias for the each perceptron. So therefore, this loss is invariably depends on these two factors, that is weight and then the perceptron value, that is bias value B. So therefore, this loss is a function of W and B. So now what is loss? How do we measure the loss? Loss in earlier example, simply we subtract from the actual value and then predicted value. So here there is something called different way we can measure the loss. One more way for measuring the loss is something called the squared loss. What is squared loss? So this is actual value minus subtracted from subtracted the predicted value. So predicted value, how do you do? Earlier also we found the predicted value is a sum of the all weight and then you take the activation function. So here in this example, again I will come back here on the board. So now what you do it, now we apply, having known this loss function, and loss function is nothing but the squared loss function. Now we will approach the gradient descent approach. So in gradient descent, that name suggests itself that you update the parameter wherever the gradient is in the negative direction. Therefore, there is something called gradient ascent also, but we use the gradient descent. This gradient descent is quite something. Suppose you want to climbing, you want to down from the ground. So then always you try to find a particular point. Always you find to go to the down. So similarly, descent, that is gradient, wherever it will be the lower, so that way it should go. So that is all about the gradient descent. But gradient descent has a mathematical foundation. I am not going on that in detail. So what we will take from that gradient descent is weight update formula. What is weight update formula? This Wij, that is the weight we want to find for the node AI. That is, I said here weight. Okay, that formula, that board I have deleted anyway. So what we want to do it for a node AI at level or layer L will be associated the weight Wij, that we want to find similarly for the all j. So then for a single weight, the formula will be whatever the weight earlier, that should be in the negative of the derivative of the with respect to partial derivative of the respect to Wij at L level. So here this derivative will be used in earlier, whatever we learned just few minutes before, the derivative will be used here. Similarly, B is another bias, is another thing that should also that also contribute for the loss. So therefore, in the same fashion, whatever the variable will be there, again Bi is another variable. So parameters will update in the same way. So please assume that this is the what is called founded or well established fact that for updating the parameters we should use this formula. So considering that, so now we learn how to how we will get this value of delta E or the delta E by delta Wij at the level L. So is it okay? So you have to say yes, no, something, then only I can proceed.
So here we are using gradient descent to detect the error or to decrease it.
Sir, we cannot hear you.
Hello.
Yes, sir, your mic was off.
Yeah, now it is on. So, what was the question? Yeah, someone asked some question. I missed it.
Sir, what is the significance of gradient descent? Are we decreasing the error or in
Yes, yes.
weight or bias?
See, objective to get the error minimum, that is the squared loss function we are using. Now, what had happened? Say, we will move parameters, we will update the parameter in such a way wherever the gradient will be decreased. Okay, gradient will be in the negative direction. So that is why this formula negative is there. It is not that we are assuming the weight. Initially we will have some weight and then gradually we will decrease, gradually we will get the right weight. So I am not questioning about the method. So please try to understand why negative value. Negative value is because we are going to the gradient wherever the gradient will be negative. Okay, so that way we will go. So that is the negative value. So for the time being, we assume that this formula is right. Okay, because gradient descent, maybe we can teach what is gradient descent in some other class, but today for the timing we consider the gradient descent is established method, and it for updating the formula we have the two, we should assume these are the right formula here. Okay, so weights will be updated in a direction, or in updates it will be updated in a direction where gradient is negative. So therefore this negative term is coming.
Hello,
So
sir.
that is why actually name is gradient descent. There is something, another technique is called gradient ascent. Now, yeah, question. Yeah, go ahead, question.
Yes, sir. So here the E notation refers to the loss, right?
Yes.
In this particular context, you are considering only one instance or for all
Only one
instances of
instant.
the.
Only one instant.
Okay.
Whenever
Okay.
I will give one input, so what will be the loss, and accordingly I will change the weights. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So now if you see the formula, total weight is over the all values. Okay. Now for a single weight, actually see whenever okay, I'll tell you later. So now for a single weight you concentrate. For a single instant you concentrate. Now this formula is, so let's say we assume this formula is right. Now we move to this one, how to compute delta E by delta Wij with respect at the level L. Okay, so here we go. So with respect to single value, that is Wij, so this is the entire loss function. So what you do is, that is first one AIL, already earlier we wrote AIL with FZIL, and then function f of this function here Wij and AJL minus 1 plus VIL. Now what will be the value of the predicted value? Predicted value is nothing but the last output. So if you move back, okay, if you move the complex structure here, so this is the value here, y is coming, y is nothing but this node output, and this layer is L. So therefore this is nothing but AIL. Hello. Okay. So AIL. So similarly here, yeah. Now what we have to do? We have to compute for a single instant, that is delta loss by delta Wj. Otherwise, if you do this one also, see this will come here because it is summation. All other will be the constant, and this will come here. It will not change anything. So therefore, you can use the chain rule. Here I will use the blackboard here. See what we have to do here. We have to compute delta E, delta W, I, J at level N. Okay. So this is nothing but, as we learned, delta loss function divided, sorry, delta W, I, J at level N. Okay. Then what we know? We know that is AI at level L. This is equal to function of Zi at level A. So function here is nothing but sigmoid function, we assume. This is nothing but sigmoid of, this is Zi is nothing but what? Summation over Wij L into A J L minus 1 over J plus B I L. Okay. Now our focus is to compute this part. Okay. So how do you compute this part? W loss with respect to W I J at L. So using chain rule, what we can write? Differentiation W loss with respect to W A L. What is AL? AL is also a function of Zi. So you can write delta AI at L into delta ZL. Okay. Again, Zi is what? Zi is the function of Wij. So again, ZIL into del Wij at level L. Did you understand this part?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now what is the task? So you have to compute this individual value. So this part, if you carefully see, this part just few minutes before we computed. Significance, someone asked what is the significance of this part? This part we computed just now. Is it? So this part is what? AI L into 1 minus AI L. Okay. So then what is the value of this part? This part means what? This is, maybe I can write it here itself. ZIL equal to summation over Ij, here L A J L minus 1 plus B I L. Can you see the board?
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Now you derive it here. Delta Z I L with respect to W I J L. So what will be the value here? So you bring it here with summation all other term. This is summation over all J. All other term will be constant. So this will all will be cancel out, and then only term will be this term. If you take the derivative with Wij only this term, then what will be the value? So this will be A J L1, right? So therefore, from this part will give you. So from here, you will get the value. You will get the value A. What value you will get? A J minus 1. But this will give you this value. So this will give you this value. This will give you, unfortunately, it's not working. Okay. Now what you have to do? You have to find this part. You have to find this part. Okay. So you assume this value is something called delta I L. Now you have to find this delta I L. Okay, so what is this? These loss with respect to the particular node. Okay, so you have the node, if you remember, so let's say this is the final node, you are connected here, you are connected here, and so on. And then obviously this is coming here, okay, so this is coming here, and so on. Now what is this one? You have to find the loss at the last output with respect to this node. Okay, this node can be anywhere. It can be from here. What we are doing it, we are basically trying to find the loss with respect to this node. We'll find the loss with respect to this node. Okay. So now first, what is this node? Let's clear what will be the loss for the last node. So last node is written as AL. So what will be the loss for the last node? So how do you compute this one? Delta loss with respect to AIL. AIL is nothing but a node. And for we consider AIL is the last node. So what will be the loss? Okay. So that we have to first find here. So loss is nothing but Y original minus YK square. That is, we did it here. So again, Y bar is nothing but last node AL. So therefore we can write Y a last node square. Now what you have to do? You have to find this part. What is that? Delta loss with respect to A I last node L. Can you see? Someone respond, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now, what is the derivative with AIL? So last node, what will be the derivative? 2 into Y minus AL. And this there will be minus here, right? So therefore we can write it 2 into ALY. Okay. So this is for with respect to last node. Okay. So that we can write, this is loss is nothing but we can write it delta I with respect to last node L. Okay. Now once we compute the last node, now we come to compute, we will compute with respect to this one, what is the loss. Okay. And then when we compute this one, we compute what is the loss for this node. Okay. Again, I need to attend one. हेलो हाँ आप कहाँ पे अभी एपर बिल्डिंग में तो गया था कोई किसी को नहीं मिला तो आप एपर में जा सकते क्या अभी एपर ए में जा सकते अभी मैं नहीं है मैं किसी को भेजेंगे हाँ ठीक है भेजें चल Okay, so you are getting with respect to this node, but what you have to do, you have to find the loss for all intermediate nodes. So therefore you have to find delta I L for the first node. We write the delta I L. For other nodes also you have to find. Okay. So here we go. I am sharing. No. Okay. So now again I share the. Okay. Yeah, it is already share, I think. Yeah. Is it share? I stop at this point here. So what I have to show in the next class, I will start from the loss with respect to AIL. Okay. I think it is already 110, so I stop at this point. Is it okay? So I am ending this class today. Hello guys.
Yes, sir.
So I stop today's class. Again, next day I will start. I am planning to record the entire class in PPA and then I will distribute it. So
Yes, sir.
this is bit.